Steve! My voice isn't alive apparently, but I'm live. Hi, how you doing today? Welcome back to Eccentric Nature. I'm Eric Hayden. And today, I have just returned from almost a month-long trip to Alaska and Colorado as well, and visiting relatives with a new child. But in doing so, we had to leave all of my wonderful herbs and plants behind here. And I left them with somebody new, and just gave them a list of instructions and said, well, let's see how it goes. So I didn't necessarily leave it just alone. You know, it's like I didn't know if it was going to be raining or not. I said if it was raining, then you don't worry about touching the ones outside so much. But it's like a very simple list of instructions. And after doing that and coming back and seeing what happened, it made me go, okay, then if I do this again, which I'm sure I will, take another trip like this, what should I do the next time I take a trip to make sure my herbs and everything are taken well care of while I'm gone? Because I'm going to show you the results here very quickly. But yeah, a few things happened that I was definitely not so happy with, and a few looking great. But it was definitely a complete mixed bag, and a lot of it was just about, you know, me giving proper instructions at the end of the day, you know? So it's a hard thing to do, to be able to say, okay, I have to leave my garden and leave all my plants, you know, depending on how many you have at home. But one way or another, if you go, you're going to have somebody look after your stuff, right? So, because otherwise, you know they're going to die, right? There's no ifs, ands, and doubts about it. If you go for a month, most everything you have needs to be watered within that time, you know? Let's see what happened to my garden while I was gone for a month. Boom, here we go. Kaboom! So we're going to start out front here, where the entire front has definitely been overtaken by the pumpkin garden lanterns, the pumpkin lanterns. You can see that halfway across the step. In fact, they were even further over when we first came home. The roses look good, but they last so shortly that now, after I took this video, a week later, after coming home on Friday the week before last, they're already all dead. They're already all gone. With roses, they just go so fast. They don't last nearly as long as you would like, you know? It's such a shame with roses. But, yeah, behind that, the lily, I didn't get much out of it. But again, it was one that you probably should have tended a little better. The one in the window is supposed to be my platycodon, but apparently it's not coming back this year. It's supposed to be an annual, but yeah, again, maybe it just got overwatered and it didn't like it. So, but this whole area needs to be tended to. I gotta take some stuff out there and push some stuff back. Hello, there's my cat. That's Samwise. We can even see here the bushes from the neighbor's yard are impending over in the month since we've been gone, and you can see how the weeds are in the dirt there and everything, and the rocks are all really starting to take over the yard. And we'll do some other close-ups, but yeah, look at some of these ones that have just popped up in a month's time. They are just massive now, and they're, you know, it's amazing how big they've gotten so quickly. But let's go through the area by area here, and we'll start talking about some of these here. The dill did great there, but as like, yeah, you can really just see how fast weeds will want to take over your yard if you don't have someone weeding for you. Hi, Samwise. This is what starts happening. But let's go into this one here. Was supposed to be a flower that never took hold. Again, it's a hard thing to try and sow a flower while you're taking off. The rosemary's done good. It's grown up a little bit. It's definitely getting bigger. It probably needs a bigger pot, but it looks great. These guys didn't do anything. All in the back there was bellflowers. These purple flowers. You can still see some of them hiding down there. But they're in the platycodon family, but they're just so pretty when they grow up. Essentially, it's, you know, it's very invasive and takes over this whole area. But I need to weed all those out. And this guy, my daisies are all gone at the moment, and I need to weed all this gunk out. But it's just amazing how much everything got overtaken by various weeds. Nothing there. That one died. It never did anything. But then you look at the dill. The dill was loving what was happening outside apparently, because it's reaching all the way up to the clothesline. That's a good 3 feet tall in that dill right there. I mean, that is insane just how big that dill got. Now I'm going to be able to use those seeds, I think, to just start doing some action with. It's very, very cool. Um, I mean, I love it. I love it to death. This guy was supposed to be my hyssop, and I don't think that what's growing in there is the hyssop. This part's wonderful. The cat's definitely happy about how the cat grass is taken off, and as you can see, he's eating it up, loving it. So Samwise is definitely loving how the cat grass is done. It's definitely done well. Again, all back here, more bellflowers and a few other things like some sow thistle or some common milk thistle have taken over. In this area, this was supposed to be basil, which apparently was just eaten up by snails or other impediments. Other types of bugs decided to take it apart, and then just weeds took over. And then I actually got a stinging nettle, which actually I think I'm going to keep. Just a voluntary stinging nettle. I'm like, yeah, I'll actually keep that and use it in tea because I love stinging nettle tea. So these other guys are all going to go. That guy's going to go. Those are all weeds I don't want in there. But then the sage, I hit and miss. I'm going to do a close-up here in a second there. The sage is done well, but if I get a close-up here, you're going to see it right here. These little white flies. If anybody has some good advice on how to kill these little white flies, I'm like going, do I just have to spray the whole thing with diatomaceous earth? What do I need to do to really get rid of these guys? Because I'm like going, is it that I'm surrounded by other gardens and they just keep coming in no matter what I do about them? I have the hardest time killing them off and then keeping them off. So if you guys know what to do, I know know of 20 different methods, but if you know of one in particular for those little white flies, let me know. But down in here, the cilantro did really well. And the basil, not the basil, the parsley did really well, and so did well, again, lots and lots of those guys. The dill, again, fantastic, reaching all the way up the side of the fence there. But yeah, the parsley did really well in there as well, luckily, and we used a lot of that on a pizza the other night, and the dill we used as well. But the spearmint, this was a replanting from another spearmint, as was this chocolate mint. And you can see the variety. You know, they're both supposed to do well with replanting, but the chocolate mint has done infinitely better than that spearmint has as far as replanting into this area. And I'm really happy with that chocolate mint. It is fantastic. One more quick shot at the whole overall of the main backyard area, and then we'll go into the back corner where my little compost area seems to be loving the weeds again. Had to refill all the bird feeders because they were completely empty within a month's time, and you can see the ivy is starting to really take over. That was all cut back as well, and that's really starting to come back out again and just be like, we're taking over, help us. So again, more parsley here. This we get is I'm just really happy with is how some of these survived out here in the weather and everything. But there's actually a little cilantro hiding in there as well. As you can see, some more cilantro there. My cilantro didn't do nearly as good this year. I'm just wondering because it's the varied weather conditions. I've had much more success in the past with cilantro, coriander, but this year I just have not really done nearly as well with those as I have in the past. So I'm, and some weeds again have taken over in this area. One more cilantro hanging down here that did really well. One massive, incredible shoot in this one planter, and then nothing else. I planted a bunch of seeds, but I guess I could use all these for seeds to replant with and try it again and see how it goes. But yeah, this one coriander cilantro is done fantastic, whereas the rest of it, no. That parsley is actually reaching over from the other planter there. Is where it's coming from. So yeah, it's just funny how some things did great while I was gone and others didn't. Here we go. We've got this again, it's just another weed that's taken over. I don't remember what the classification is, along with some more parsley that I need to use up. Like I said, I used some of it up, but not all of it yet. I still got some more I gotta take care of, and I'm sure we'll find some use for that. Not in the tea. I don't like parsley tea. But again, I'm gonna have to replant some of these guys in here. At the time, I had cut this way back, and it's regrown actually a decent amount from where I'd cut it back to, so it's doing good. Another chocolate mint back here, and another spearmint back here, both of which are doing okay. But again, the spearmint looks like it needs a little bit of feeding. It's definitely a little bit yellow, so it needs probably a little bit extra plant food. And then the other two local cats, always knocking over my plants, so my little fennel here just got knocked over by them, and luckily it's still looking like it's doing good. down here where the bird put some of the bird seed, some of the other plants are just seeming to take on over, which is funny. The other dill here, this one didn't do good. I think this one is windowsill. The inside did good, but the outside, all of these guys, none of them look good. You look at all four of these, meh, 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 and meh. So I think what happened on this outside is they just get overwatered from the water when it does rain coming down off of the rain gutter, and it just, I think it oversplashes them and they don't like that. So I think this one windowsill, as much as I like the idea of being able to use this extra territory, unless I have a plant there that really, really loves water, I can't use it. There's just way too much that happens. And this guy, Ginny, I think is dead. She's down to her last leaf and it does not look good. So sadly, my orchid is gone. And again, this was another supposed to be flower that just didn't take off. But the peppermint did great. Peppermint's looking fantastic in there. I'm actually a little bit surprised that this isn't taller. I was expecting it to be a little bit taller considering how tall the chocolate mint got and how big the basil got, which we're going to get to in a second. The basil is amazing. But yeah, here I have in my Ceanothus, it's not actually mine, is one that the was left to us. Is gotten a little overtaken by this. I think it's a sow thistle, not a milk thistle. And it seems to have done fantastic in there. But the Ceanothus, it always kind of does this though, where it looks like it's pretty much dead. Where you look at all the buds, they're brown and ugly already, but it may still be alive, but it sure doesn't look like it at the end of the day. But look in the back window here. Look at this in the inside of the kitchen window there. These ones in the outside, again, same problem on this one windowsill. The outside windowsill, not nearly as good. My red Reuben and my dark opal basil have both done okay. They're growing, as you can see, but they're not like incredible or massive. Yeah, they're I can both probably, you know, make something of these, but it's like not nearly as much as I was expecting to get out of these pots. So yeah, but once you go up into the window, my gosh, that basil, woohoo! Look at that baby. It was just a water-loving fool. Every other plant when I came back on the inside was heavily overwatered. And this was just telling her on a summer schedule of watering every other day and trying to tell her just water lightly. But apparently most people, I think, tend to do this, especially when they're watching other people's plants. They tend to err on the side of like, oh my gosh, let me give more than enough water. But for indoor plants, especially with herbs and stuff, a lot of these ones that don't need it that often, I'm going to adjust my schedule the next time I have somebody. Even if I think, for me, I would normally water every other day, I would think I'm going to tell the person every 3 to 4 days or something, so I avoid this. Because all of these guys were so overwatered that it's 9 days later. Is it 8 days later now? Yeah, 9 days later now, actually, because it's Sunday. I came back the Friday before last. And I still haven't watered but any of my indoor plants except for the basil and a little bit on the tarragon in that one window. But here are the my newest orchids doing really well. That one leaf was damaged because it was in the other window and it had gotten some sun damage apparently in that window. I didn't think that would happen in the front window, but it's like, okay, let's take it back here and take it slightly away from the main direct sunlight, because the orchids don't like that direct sunlight, and it got too much of that in the other window unexpectedly. So yeah, but the fennel back here is doing great. Really hope it seeds so I can use that for some tea. That'd be great. And I'm very happy that despite the overwatering, the lavender is doing well as well right next to it here. But again, it's like, you see here in a second, I put my finger in the soil and it's still wet. I put my finger in the soil today, Sunday, 9 days later, and it's still wet. That's how overwatered some of these guys were. I was just astounded. I'm like, how do you manage to do that? I don't know how they overwater that much. And here, like the catmint, the form of catnip that I use, it's still growing. You can see the new buds coming out now. But again, it was so overwatered. That's why all the leaves are browned and half of them are dead, that they just got overwatered so badly. Then I've had to cut back some of this and just leave it alone so it would regrow. And again, 2 of these guys are just dead, nothing in them at all. But compared to the Thai basil, the when we go back to it here, the Tulsi basil is doing great. Just look at that. A lot of my basils really survived very well with all this extra water. So I guess that goes to show you something, that basil really can handle extra water compared to a lot of other herbs. You know, you don't ever want to overwater a herb, but it's nice to know that if you're going to overwater one, a basil, once it's already taken root, can handle it pretty well. So classic sign right here on my last plant, the anthurium. You look at these tips here, this is a classic sign of overwatering, the brown and yellow tips here. And it's a very clear-cut example of an overwatering, how all these tips have turned like this. But you know, again, to go in and touch this soil after a week, still soaked. It's amazing to me how far gone it was. Yeah, but that's it. That's all of my plants, and that's what happened while I was gone. Amazing. There you go. Wow. Hi, Rachel. Good to see you. Welcome to the party. I just threw on this live stream. I haven't been doing these consistently. I'm very sorry. I need to start trying to get on here consistently so you guys know when I'm actually doing the live streams. And I'm going to keep trying to do them like I had been doing last year before the baby came, like every other Sunday, and try and get back on that schedule. If not, at least one Sunday a month, and so I know you guys know when I'm coming in to do these live streams. Yes, I'm here, because otherwise, I know you guys will watch it, but it's so much nicer when I have a bunch of people here live being like, "Hi, how are you?" But if you guys have a time that you'd rather have me do the live stream, please let me know in the comments so I can, make sure I have as many people as I can for the actual live. Because I always love talking to you guys on the chat when I'm here. But I will get consistent again, not next week, but the week after that. I'll try and do another live stream, and we'll actually cover one of the topics you guys have been wanting, which I think is talking about the benefits overall of all the herbs that you can use for, like, what was it? Weight loss was one of the ones I think I was going to cover first. So weight loss was going to be covered first. But my main videos, like I said, I just came back from Alaska, and while I was there, I shot a ton of footage. Some of it a little bit ugly, where I'm like completely dark and you can't see me, and and others that's not that big a deal. And the audio is probably not the world's best because I didn't have a lavalier mic, and I just got inspired while I was there to be like, I gotta shoot all these plants. So I did like 5 different plants, and I'm going to be covering all those in the next 3 months as I release a video, if I can, every other week in between my live streams. So I'm going to try and get back to a weekly schedule here, and hopefully we'll make that work. But this next week, my wife has actually started working on the graphics for the long-promised benefits of, now I forget, burdock tea. So burdock tea is hopefully going to be next week. Oh my gosh, I promised that to you guys like several months ago, but then the baby happened, and yeah, these things, that's what happens when you have a baby. So yes, burdock tea will hopefully be next week. And then after that, I've got some fireweed tea, which goes by a different name over here. Let me bring that, see if I can find it again. I know there's a different name for it over here. One of the other ones I was covering has the same problem, that I've got several different plants that I know I'm planning on covering, but I don't have the name for. In the UK, it's called something else. What's it called? So Rose Bay Willow Herb. So over here in the UK, it actually is over here now, but it's definitely more of a northwestern. Is more of its origins, I guess, of the fireweed, the Alaskan fireweed. There's also an Australian fireweed, which is yellow, but the Alaskan fireweed is pink, or the Rose Bay Willow Herb is pink. It's Camerinium augustifolium. Again, the crazy name that I can't pronounce. But yeah, Rose Bay Willow Herb will be one of them. Another one is what's called over here hogweed, but over in the States we call it cow parsnip. I'm going to be covering that one. And then I've got a couple that most definitely don't grow over here, like Devil's Club I don't think grows over here in the UK, and I'm definitely not going to find skunk cabbage here in the UK as far as I know it. Definitely not the western skunk cabbage, because there's a western and an eastern skunk cabbage. And it's a very fascinating plant. You know, it sounds weird, but it's definitely fascinating. And then one other one, which is yarrow, which you can find over here in the UK as well, the yarrow. So, or yarrow, sorry, yarrow. I do the same thing when I was taping. I was calling it yarrow all the time. So yes, a couple more ones for you to check out. A whole bunch of fun ones. Lots of beautiful Alaskan footage rather than me in just my house in either blank backyard or my backyard. So some fun different things for you guys to see coming up here. I'm very excited about. But until then, you guys take care of each other. Be kind. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. And let me know in the comments what's a good time for you to watch a live stream. Boom. See you later.